Today is September 26th, and this is the meeting of the Commissioners of the Trust Fund. Can I have a motion to open business?
Motion to open.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are open. First appointment is with Nick Monticello, our Assistant Town Accountant. Nick, the floor is all yours.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks
So,
for coming.
I basically just chopped up all the trust funds that the town manages or has in banks. And you can see the restricted are all the amounts that were set for the trust that can't be touched. The unrestricted is able to be expended for whatever the guidelines fall along the trust. The majority of these are with Bartholomew, who's like an investing management company. Some of them are in Bristol County, but I was talking with Jackie about that. We're probably going to move the ones that have no activity into Bartholomew, since there's not a lot of movement on those. Might as well keep it with the investment firm. But
Is that pretty much the where most municipalities are investing trust funds?
I think so, because that was like they're one of the top.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Question, can you explain to people that are watching this what restricted and unrestricted mean?
Yeah, so restricted is, however, when the trust was first set up, that was the set amount that was given, and any of the money made off of that restricted amount or donations into that trust would go to the unrestricted, which is expendable.
So per se, when the money's invested, the money that's made, the interest, we'll call it,
Yeah.
goes into unrestricted.
Yep.
And you could use that.
Mm-hmm.
So the principal amount is restricted, which keeps the pot growing.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, excellent.
Are those transfers that we have to request to be done, or is that something automatically that finance will do?
No, yeah, that's automatic.
You automatically do
Mhm.
that? Okay, good.
Yeah, every quarter they get reconciled with the bank and then what's in the ledger. Because, throughout the year, if there's an expense, we record it on the ledger side, and then when we go to reconcile with the bank statements, the bank doesn't know what expenses might have happened throughout the year, so then that's when we say, we show back of what was expended, here's a copy, and then they know to move it from the bank to say that this expense came out of that account.
And this is the latest, greatest numbers that you have on all these accounts?
This is actually through the end of fiscal year 23, because it's quarterly.
Yeah.
It would have been, I'll get the next statement at the end of September.
Okay.
So you guys were off
We missed it by a
a
week.
few days.
Oh, well.
Get that update. Okay.
But right now, looking at what we have, as far as I have seen from the paperwork that we've gone through, our most active has been
Cemetery.
the cemetery
Mhm.
and I think historical.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's also a couple scholarship ones that the school gives out once a year.
Okay, that's right.
And then I believe there's also the Protestant church one is once a year.
That we have on the agenda to discuss.
Okay.
Because I've received an inquiry about that, and my understanding is, based on the trust, it's $500 is to be paid out, but there's some conflict as to whether it's just for the Protestant denomination. So that's something we're gonna discuss a little bit
Oh.
further on. But my understanding is they haven't had any withdrawals from that since COVID.
Which I believe is correct, yeah, because I know there was also lack of members too, so there was never a board to approve it at the time for the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah, it was tough for Tommy to do it alone.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to make an entire quorum. Okay. Did you mention the amounts that we have in there?
No.
In the restricted and unrestricted?
No, you may if you like.
Okay. Based on what you're giving to us, the restricted funds that we have is $210,017.28. And am I the restricted? Am I looking at the wrong figure?
I was on unrestricted, did you say?
I thought I said restricted.
Okay.
Okay. Restricted is $210,017.28, thank you. And the unrestricted is $519,190.58. So that's very good. It's nice to see that the restricted is still bringing in that interest, even though we're in a lower interest environment than we have in past years.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow there.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
It's great.
Oh,
And any further questions for our guest? No? Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Nick, thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
Next is the meeting mail from the town clerk regarding required ethic training.
Yes.
Bonte.
Attached to your agendas, I did give you a mandatory training requirement summary and the online training website that you need to go to. We're required all to take this within 30 days of being appointed of a board or annually. The website is down at the very bottom, very last line of the page. And if I could, John, I already have yours. Tommy, I believe I need your confirmation for this year that I've given you the requirement. So if I could get that from you, just to sign that acknowledgement sheet, and then you'll have 30 days to complete the online training.
Okay.
Okay. This is a new website versus obviously the old one. But what's different about this one is you have to have an email account, which I know we all do anyway. But it does require an email account to sign in.
Lincoln.
Right, yeah,
Okay. Good enough.
okay.
Next item, discussion of research completed to date. That has been, I know from looking at the records that you have in your office, somewhat maddening in the sense there's a lot more questions than answers.
Yes,
And there isn't a lot of information except for what is in these 3-ring binders, which is kind of scant at best for most of them. Case in point, some of these accounts that we have no bequeathment to look at as a criteria.
right,
And people come and ask, can we take money out of this? We don't have any idea if it matches the criteria. So we're
Right.
trying to stay within the spirit of the bequest. And it makes it difficult without looking at A, past practice of what has been approved and not approved. And B, it'd be really nice if there was something that was written down that said it may be used for A, B, and C. We don't have that.
right,
So-
right. And we found that with the Board of Health, the Board of Health did put in the request for a photocopier, which they've previously purchased years ago, and I forget what the date was. Was it 2011?
Around that.
That they made their purchase, and so at least we know that past practice has been to allow those funds to be used for items such as that. But we still don't know. Now, I was under the impression when I spoke with Nick earlier today that we have the trust fund book, which I don't know if Mark is the one that put this together or I'm not exactly sure. But Nick also had one, which I was under the impression was from the treasurer's office. That is not the case. That was actually Nick's copy, the finance copy. Currently not having a town treasurer collector. We've been dealing with interims for the last, I want to say it's been over a year now, and they don't seem to have any idea where this stuff may be. So
You are the longest serving commissioner here. Did you have these problems during your last board?
Well, there's only ever been, I only have 1 year where there were 3 of us and
Yeah.
it wasn't really an issue, but
Yeah.
ever since then, yeah, we haven't really been able to do anything.
Yeah,
Mm.
because you don't have the information that
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
I see.
And I don't think, I think a lot of people after COVID, things just stayed quiet. That there weren't any real requests other than.
Well, I had
school.
the church call, I had some
Oh.
church call me one time, but I
Okay.
told them I was the only one. I couldn't do it without other board members.
Right, right,
Kind of frozen.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So, I do have, a request, which is on the agenda as well, from the cemetery board. And with the cemetery board, we know what is allowed, what is not allowed. So we do have one to sign off on today. But the research has been, yes, difficult. And I can see that Kathy Doan, when she was here, the former finance director, that she did do some good research
Right.
into it. But again, having a treasurer collector
Mhm.
not knowing
Right.
where,
And where they're gonna get, I don't think they're gonna finding the information to be just as difficult as we have.
right, exactly.
Well, we'll do the best we can. I mean, I don't have, I can say this for myself, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but if people come before us with a request, I don't have any problems with approving something as long as I know that it fits the criteria.
Right.
And if any questions arise, it's because I just want to make sure that as stewards of these accounts, that we follow the correct procedures and make sure that whatever the criteria of the person who set up this fund over 100 years ago, for the most part, that we're following their wishes,
Right.
even all these years later. All right, next, approval of submitted invoices. Cemetery Board has a request from the Cemetery Perpetual Funds, an invoice for $449 to purchase a saw. That'd be a chainsaw?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. So Joanne Chopper, who is, I believe, the secretary for the cemetery board, dropped this off with me, and we just need to make a vote
Yeah. that's
to
fine.
approve it and then sign it.
Okay.
So can I make a motion
You may.
that we approve the $449 for the purchase of a saw for the cemetery board?
Do I have a second?
Second time.
Any discussion on this? This seems pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Next, meeting agenda item number 6, discussion of inquiry related to the Russell Protestant Poor and review of allowable disbursements. That goes to, looks like item number 26 on the list here. Russell Protestant Poor Fund. Is that the one? Looking at the same one here?
Okay, yeah, I was looking at what we have here, which is
Do I
different.
need to sign this or this also?
Yes, no, I need you and Tommy to sign it, and then I can give it to the finance department while I'm here, and drop a copy in their mailbox.
Okay.
Um,
On line item number, looks like 26 is Russell Protestant Poor. From the research that I have seen in your office, correspondence that asked about this, it did say that it had to be a Protestant denomination,
Thank
and it had to be in Acushnet.
you. Okay,
Very definitive in what it calls for.
what I have seen is primarily an annual $500 that was dispersed
To,
to the, I believe it was the Methodist
Methodist Church.
Church. Yes.
how many
Yeah.
Protestant churches are there in Acushnet?
I don't know.
Is there one on
Long Plain, is that
on
Protestant?
10, is that off of 105 there?
Yeah, right off of Maine's, oh, no.
By Country Way?
Robinson Road, I think.
Yeah, Robinson.
Yeah, yeah. Although, wait a minute, is
That's a
that the
Quaker
church or is
church,
that the school?
That's
Because-
a church.
There's
up
one
there.
on 105 if you go past Country Whip, there's a church there.
Yeah, I think that's the church, and I
Yeah,
think the
that's the
school
school.
is,
Okay.
yeah, across from Countrywood.
So I could think of two.
Is that Protestant?
Mhm.
Oh, it is, okay. So that's two. And then, I mean, we have St. Francis, and I don't know of any
Yeah.
others.
I think using the criteria that's been set up, St. Francis would not be eligible.
Right,
Being a different denomination of faith.
right.
One of the things I like to see is that people in town are aware of these funds and to know that they were set up to help the townspeople achieve goals. And I would like to see that come to the light so that people, like some of these churches who do good work,
Yeah.
have access to this money. It's sitting there waiting for them to be used.
Right.
So I'd like to see that become something that we accomplish here.
Okay, I do know the individual that had inquired, he was inquiring for his wife.
Okay.
So I would expect then that after they see this meeting, that we would be getting a request for
That'd be
a
great.
$500
Mhm.
disbursement.
There's more than adequate amount of funding in there. Unrestricted is $38,700.
Yeah,
So the $500 isn't gonna put much of a dent in that.
right.
So if you're at home watching this and you fit this criteria, then please come see us because we have money for you, for your good deeds. All right, the last meeting, date for the next meeting. This is Labonte. Do you have any suggestions? As long as it's on a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, let's see. Today is the 26th. How about the 17th or the 24th?
17th or the 24th. 17th I will not be here. The 24th I can be here though.
You can't be, or you can?
I can.
24th works.
The 24th?
All right.
Okay.
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock works for me. Okay.
Okay, so the next meeting will be on October 24 at 3 o'clock. That's about it for the agenda for today. I can have a motion to close or adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me.
Second?
Second.
Hold on, I think I'll hold it. All in favor?
Sorry. Aye.
All those who can't speak in favor? All right,
Aye.
meeting is over.